Christopher Lisligard, apologies for mispronouncing your name. Great question. I would love to see a video about your thoughts around money and how you divide your income. That you have set off enough to taxes is pretty easy to understand, but do you have any clear rules about how much your income goes on your personal spendings like house, family, food, etc., and how much you invest back into the business for stuff like modular computers, etc.? I think this is a topic that many up-and-coming producers, myself included, could really benefit from. This vlog may fail on many levels, but the one thing I pride myself on is being truthful, and I guess the short answer to your question is don't, whatever you do, listen to what I have to say or what I've done regarding balancing kind of personal family commitments and basically buying kit. Sometimes my brother Joe watches this and I think he would be laughing now if I was to take the stance of being an expert on delayed gratification. Most of my professional life, I would say, I think it's called a hand-to-mouth existence. If the money is there, I spend it. And before becoming a father, I would squander it. I would squander opportunities to go on holidays with loved ones. I would squander opportunities for self-care. I would squander opportunities to build up a prudent reserve so that I didn't have to take every job that came in. I bought equipment. Equipment needed assistants to run it, so I bought studios. Studios needed administrators to run it, so I built up a burden of overhead, which I think is the most dangerous thing to do because it restricts your artistic choices. But if I were to make some recommendations, similar to my 100 do's and don'ts of media composition, here are some things that if I could do it all again, I would do differently. But before I get going, Christopher, I must kind of also add to my immediate response that where balancing my books, buying equipment and buying my children food is concerned, naturally they get all of the food they need. Now, before I inevitably say the business plan swear word, I think there's an overarching thing above that, a set of career objectives. I think it's important for you to establish what success looks like to you. I see so many people, myself included, just enter into a career going, I want to be successful, but not defining what that actually is. And I wouldn't confuse this with ambition. You know, like, I don't care, I just want to win an Oscar, or one day I want to go down a red carpet. What I'm talking about is not too broad, a kind of vague, I just want to just not work in a bank, but also being slightly less focused on the kind of professional ambitions, more on, do you want to be a family person? Do you want to be healthy, live a long life? Do you not want to worry about money? Do you want to be artistically satisfied? Okay, so this is when I get a bit businessy. I think it's really, really important to point out that you are a business, whether it be a sole tradership or a partnership. And if you elect not to run your business as a businessman, I would say that is a mistake I have repeatedly made. So we can take all of these kind of broad definitions of success, combine it with your ambitions, put that up on a nice viz board, something that you see every day, that's great. But then we can convert them, break them down into things that in business we call KPIs, or key performance indicators. And from there, break it down even further into a 1-year, 2-year, 3-year plan, otherwise known as a business plan. And the key misunderstanding about the primary focus of a business plan is not necessarily your expenditure, but it is actually making a business case for the jobs that you take on. Because that is the kind of long-term concern you must have about your business, how to grow it sustainably. If I had done a business plan, I would have not done 25% of the work that I took on. You know, it's things like, I really want to take this job, it's not going to earn me any money, but it's going to be good for me. Well, is it? Because you're going to have to take on another job in order to pay for it. So I remember one year I did something that was so kind of mega cool, looked great on IMDb, but then above it was the job I had to take to pay for the job beneath it, and that job was Richard Hammond's Blast Lab. Okay, so I'm going to manage my expectations and expect for us not to do business plans. We're musos after all. But can we not just take two very basic business principles? The first is that of sustainable growth. The second is that of delayed gratification. The principle of sustainable growth is very simple. You calculate your burn rate, so that's everything that you're spending every month, and you compare it to your income. And then you work out over a year how to increase your burn rate as a kind of percentage of your increased earnings, if indeed they are increasing. And this is something you have to track. Delayed gratification is simple, and I think there's been some studies to prove that successful people, by and large, always practice this principle. And it's basically that, yes, you've earned a bit of money, you've created a surplus, wait. Wait till the end of the financial year and all of your ducks are in a row, all of the unexpected things that can happen in a year, a hard drive going down, and from that you will find that you will start building up a prudent reserve. You do realise that most of this stuff is complete bullshit. It's totally unnecessary to own loads of kit in order to be successful making music for films, TV, adverts. I'm going to link below in the comments, or rather the description, a fantastic film I did at Cribs at Daniel Pemberton's studio. The setup he works in is far from, I'd say, Hollywood in the politest possible way. Daniel's a lovely guy, by the way. And I think that's a very important key thing to keep here is, yes, it's great to have kit to validate your success, but it's not vital. What's vital for success is you. You're going to make you successful, so make sure you invest in you as well. But it is inevitable that you're going to have to buy some stuff, and I think it's about getting bang for your buck. It's about kind of objectives, achieving those objectives over, oh, I've always fancied owning a Moog Voyager. So I think it's very important to invest in a powerful computer and to future-proof yourself. I think plugins and sample libraries, you've got to be really careful. I've never really invested in actually, that's not true. But you know, you're only licensing these things. You can't claim that this is part of your asset base because there's no resale value. It's the first time I bought a Manley massive passive, beautiful EQ unit. And when I took it out of the box, something extraordinary happened. I had this sensation that it hadn't zeroed in value. Like pretty much everything I'd bought up to that point, you take it out of the box, it is pretty much worthless compared to the price that you paid. And I guess this is when the kind of whole delayed gratification thing really can kick in. You know, instead of flittering away your surplus as it appears on stuff by, I don't know, I hate to be rude, but Behringer, you know, saving for that kind of considered purchase may stand you in better stead in the future because it becomes part of your asset base. So, you know, for me, I think that there are clearly things that are of value, you know, as I mentioned, powerful computers that future-proof you, but also acoustic instruments, a piano, they don't have to be expensive, you can pick them up very cheaply second-hand these days, and also to slowly start considering building and extending your mic cupboard so that the recordings you make get increasingly better and better. Also, you know, investing in people, investing in your own sample libraries, you know, thinking about, am I just going to spunk loads of cash on an orchestral session for a job, as opposed to maybe thinking about it more holistically, thinking about constructing a sample session which would be more expensive, but something that you can use that is unique to you for the rest of your working career. And back to that boring thing, prudent reserve. How else do you avoid the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune? You're a business, you need to shore up your defences, whether it be a rogue publishing claim or that shitty tax deal that someone convinced you to do. It's always good to have a soft padding, a hinterland of finance to protect you against the unexpected. With exception to investing in talent, making my own sample libraries, that kind of stuff, I have done none of these things, and I do have regrets as a consequence. Namely, having taken too much on, I had to take more on. It became a feedback loop, nightmarish at points. There's been several cycles like this within my career, and the net result is I wasn't able to really pursue my artistic goals. Always tried to write good music, but was it original? Rarely. A common misbelief amongst, I think, particularly us chaps, is that children pose the greatest threat to our careers. They're actually relatively cheap. They don't require manly massive passives or API lunchbox units. But what they do give us is a sense of responsibility, something to fight for. And if I was to offer one piece of advice, is never hold back on the opportunity of having children with someone you love. Because that was the point for me where I had to accept that my job is that of being a film, TV composer. It's the only way I knew how to put food into that little lovely, beautiful baby girl's mouth. And that's, for me, the point at which my career truly turned round. Maslow's hierarchy. It's a fascinating thing worth Googling. When you become a parent, the real true needs in life become apparent. The only caution I have to offer you, though, is to not completely wipe yourself off the kind of need spectrum. Look after yourself, invest in you, because you are your business. If you don't look after your health, you have nothing. Christopher, thanks again for the question. I hope I've been of some kind of help. Moogs are good. End of the year. Wait till all of the kind of horses have been counted. I don't know what kind of analogy. Oh, this is fucking bollocks. Okay.